Western Conference. He should be mad at them for not holding the fort down.
For me,
it's a good point.
For me, here's my deal. I don't necessarily disagree with Perk. I wasn't a fan of the playing game because my attitude and not being able to take those nights off. Here's what I will say that does make LeBron not look so good about this position. You weren't saying this when y'all were a top 2 seed. You're saying it now. You're saying it now because it shouldn't be falling apart at the seams like this.
I want to address that before I answer the question. First of all, I don't agree with that because, Stephen A., when you have a chance to get 2 MVPs on your roster at the same time, you're going to always do it. And that means somebody... Then AD got back. They got to reintegrate him. He's not 100% yet, and they started losing games. But I want to say, Perk, I think, as you would say, you are preaching the gospel this morning, brother. I think it's great that LeBron had that reaction. Normally...
TV. Are we looking down the line? We looking at the Boston Celtics battle with the Atlanta Hawks to see if they go get in the playoff position. We looking at the New York Knicks right now, who just hit a West Coast swing.
That's right.
Right? Who just did a West Coast,
May 3rd, 2021. Hit that like button, subscribe, and a quick friendly reminder, you only have a few hours left if you want to snag something over at shopdefranco.com. Our biggest, most limited, and most successful drop to date now coming to an end. Don't be stupid, emotionally exhausted. And obviously, you can kind of hear the sarcasm in my voice, but it's also true. It feels like all the big stories about Billie Eilish involve her body to some degree. Eilish had this signature baggy clothes style, one that she actually came out and said that she chose to hide her body so that people would not comment on it. But now, activity also saying she didn't like being compared to other female pop stars who were wearing revealing outfits, and she was praised for not doing so, which she didn't appreciate, and saying that's because there was a misogynistic subtext there, and also she felt deprived of her own womanhood. And speaking on essentially the bullshit that women have to deal with, saying, Eilish adding, if I am, then I'm proud. Me and all the girls are hoes, and fuck it, you know? Let's turn it around and be empowered in that. Showing your body and showing your skin or not should not take any respect away from you. Don't make me not a role model because you're turned on by me. Right, and all of this coming as she released a single called Yours, saying that it's a universal issue, with Eilish saying it's everywhere. I don't know one girl or woman who hasn't had a weird experience or a really bad experience. She also said that she has experienced that kind of abuse herself, with her also seeming to try and get in front of people that are going to criticize her, noting that some people might say, you're going to complain about media. Right, and kind of in connection to that, one of the criticisms we saw online was a user saying, Billie Eilish doing sexualized photo shoots after avoiding showing her body for so long isn't harmless self-expression when pervy grown men and adults in the music industry have been pressuring her to hypersexualize herself since she was a minor. And to that point, fans makes $1 million like that. Right, so there is an argument to be had that the entertainment industry has this pipeline that encourages young women to show their bodies. And is it truly owning yourself, or is it playing the game? You could really only know that yourself. And hey, it can get a little bit messy though, and narrative. And so at least in this one situation, it feels like true empowerment. But with that said, that's a story, some of my thoughts. And I pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts on this story? Then let's definitely talk about our douchebag of the day, 56-year-old Bobby Paul Edwards. Right, so Bobby Paul back off. And actually, as a part of his sentencing, Edwards was also ordered to pay that man, 43-year-old John Christopher Smith, $273,000 in unpaid wages and overtime compensation. But federal prosecutors actually appealed that decision, though not because they didn't think that Smith deserved that money, but rather because by not accounting for federal labor laws, which means that Smith is actually entitled to $546,000. So the appellate court sent the ruling back to the district court to recalculate for a final decision. Though, here's the thing, it would be very nice to put a little bow on this. It's huge, right? The doubling of Smith's pay and health. According to reports, Edwards isolated Smith from his family, threatened to have him arrested, and called him racial slurs. He also allegedly physically and emotionally abused him over the years if he made mistakes or failed to work fast enough, whipping him with belts and kitchen pans and even punching him. Reportedly once, when I felt unsafe, like Bobby could kill me if he wanted. I wanted to get out of that place so bad, but couldn't think about how I could without being hurt. While other employees that witnessed this were too scared, thankfully there was a woman by the name of Janine Keynes, whose daughter-in-law worked at the restaurant, who helped put an end to the abuse when she reported angry. What's the big deal? Others saying that some of the criticism is just coming from people that are anti-women, not anti-hot tub streamers. And among the updates we've seen, you had the head of creator development at Twitch, Marcus Graham, saying that they are aware of and monitoring the situation. Though he kind of used some open language, not
and do something about that. That doesn't mean ban,
but do something about that so that it's not just suggestive streams that kind of take over the whole platform.
Then we got the news today that Verizon is selling its media group to a private equity firm by the name of Apollo Global Management for $5 billion, which has unfortunately triggered even bigger financial blows, job losses, and newsroom cutbacks. Where a lot of those big national stories start from local outlets who then get picked up by larger ones. And so hopefully we'll see a positive impact from this initiative, especially, getting people that are more, what I try to do with the show, which I was like, oh, this feels nice. It's really well written and well rounded. If you're a fan of my content, I definitely recommend check it out. But even more importantly, for the people who were inspired by my show in the past and became journalists, and if you're watching now and you're like an aspiring journalist, I definitely recommend checking it. Please know, it is not just about India and Brazil, and it might reflect a big problem that other countries are going to have moving forward. And so since February, India has been experiencing an explosive rise in the number of COVID-19 cases across the country. And at that time, it was reporting about 10,000 new infections a day, but particularly bad news for India with 400,000 new cases per day, which unfortunately also means a huge spike in deaths as well. And to date, over 200,000 people in India have lost their lives to the virus. And possibly the most frightening thing about that is about 1/4 of those just came to its financial hub. In response to that, they initiated lockdowns about 2 weeks ago that will last until at least May 15th. Other efforts to combat outbreaks include bigger vaccination efforts, with over 150 million people receiving at least one of the 2 vaccine shots. And while that is a big number, that's only about 10% of the population, and it's estimated that only nations promising medical support, including the United States, which has now vowed to give $100 million worth of medical support. Although one of the international reactions we've seen regarding India has also been fear. For example, over the weekend we saw Australia implementing a travel ban on India, and I mean, it covers everyone, even Australian.
Well, every indication from our perspective is that this was a smuggling vessel used to smuggle migrants into the United States legally. We haven't confirmed the nationality of the people involved.
Las autoridades indicaron que el jueves pasado interceptaron frontera, no importa de qué forma. Es el reporte que tenemos en vivo desde San Diego. Yo soy Erika Flores. Regresamos con ustedes al estudio.
Erika, gracias. Vamos a estar pendientes al desarrollo de esta noticia, Nacho. Y ahora nos vamos a Puerto Rico, en donde se han reportado 10 embarazada de un famoso boxeador.
Félix Verdejo se entregó después de que el cuerpo fuera encontrado por las autoridades y enfrenta ahora serios cargos. Y como nos reporta María del Carmen González, la isla aún está en shock por el espeluznante crimen. Varias las promesas que el presidente Joe Biden no ha podido cumplir hasta ahora.
Entre los asuntos pendientes aparece, por ejemplo, aumentar la cuota de refugiados y reunificar a las familias separadas por el gobierno del expresidente Trump. Desde Washington, D.C., Javier Vega.
Estoy atrasada con 3 meses de renta. Y aunque uno recibe un poco de la ayuda del employment, pero es bien difícil.
El presupuesto de ayuda supera los $2.300 millones y les permitirá a los inquilinos aplicar desde el siguiente periodo del año 2020.
Said about KPXY's Maria Medina with the video of the basketball court confrontation.
Caught on camera between 2 local AAU or amateur athletic union teams ended with this punch. Tapers happened well before the punch.
They did use the C word.
2/3 of the team on the court. Then this happened.
Where my son essentially going up, the kid on the ground pushed him.
That's when another player jumps in, pushes Evan to the ground, then seconds
him in the face.
The parents say not only didn't anyone jump in or reprimand the players, they claimed the director of the
Violence in Chicago claimed 7 lives and injured dozens more.
The surge in the city coincided with that warmer
Monday afternoon, just before 3 o'clock, 2 men were shot here in the 800 block of North Ridgeway. A 40-year-old man survived.